All right, YouTube. So today's video is our first video in 2025, and this one is actually for everyone to be able to watch. I'll let you know when there's a video coming up for members only. So if you have not considered becoming a member, you should. There are many folks that are actually here that actually are members already, and are going to start to see a big benefit of that. I'm just moving this around a little bit. By the way, got a new setup for you. I'm going to move out of the way so you can see it. And it's all glass, beautifully organized. And all the lenses are in there lit up. And then obviously our 247 Media Group, the parent company for Camera Sutra, is up there. So hopefully you like the setup, and it looks a little bit more refreshing than what was there before. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about why is everyone leaving Canon. There's a lot of Canon gear in there. Anyway, why is everyone leaving Canon in 2025? I don't think people are leaving Canon. Maybe they are, right? So let's talk about it. So apparently there's been this buzz that everyone is leaving Canon, a lot of videos are surfacing around this topic. So let's sort of dive in and take a closer look at sort of who these people are that are actually leaving Canon and or considering other things and whatnot. And it's great. Actually, people are willing to make a choice, or they have a choice to make. You don't have to stick with Canon. You can go with Sony, you can go with Nikon, you can go with Olympus, Pentax, whatever you like. So who are these people? Well, let's, to understand this video, we have to sort of understand the history a little bit. 10 years ago, when Sony set out on this this journey of going full frame mirrorless and whatnot, they were the only contenders in the market in the full frame world for a good number of years, at least 4 to 5 years. And then, around 2018, Canon and Nikon enter this, world of full frame mirrorless with their Nikon with the Z6, Z7, and then obviously, Canon came out with the EOS R and a few others, RP and other cameras. So competition started to go there. Well, the first iterations of Canon and Nikon, they were interesting, right? Most people in those first 4 to 5 years when Sony was making full frame were either from the Canon camp, right? Some, very few from the Sony A-mount series, which was their DSLRs, either from the Canon or the Nikon camp, or, some Micro Four Thirds, variation, and some from the Fuji world. That's who comprised of the Sony full frame market, per se, or sales. So in 2018, when Canon and Nikon actually introduced their cameras, they weren't quite, I won't say they were bad, they weren't to the same level as where Sony was, because they already had 4 to 5 years ahead of both Canon and Nikon. And it only made sense, that's great. So there are a lot of people on the fence still, right? So some people never bought into it, they just stuck with their DSLRs. Others, early adopters, said, you know what, F you Canon, F you Nikon, I'm going to go try this Sony. And they went to the Sony side of the house, bought stuff, this, that, and the other. It wasn't until about the second iteration, right, that came from Canon and Nikon. So when the R5, R6 came out from Canon, and then the Z6 II and Z7 II came out, that's when people started to really question, okay, I used to be a Nikon shooter. I bought these Sony cameras because there was nothing available, and I could use my Nikon glass on there once in a while. Same thing for the Canon. I was a Canon shooter. I was able to use Canon glass on there. So I went to Sony. Now I have these cameras like R5, R6. They were groundbreaking at that time on what they could do with autofocus and things like that. And then Nikon on the Z7 II, incredible sensor, incredible output. Not that the Z7 original ones weren't bad image quality wise, the autofocus and stuff just wasn't there. And the same thing, in the second iteration it got better. So now people started to question, do I really need to stay with Sony, or can I really actually go back to Nikon, what I love, or go back to Canon, what I love? So when you see these videos in 2025, everyone is leaving Canon. Well, are they? Last time I checked the 2024 numbers, their sales were way higher. They're still number one. Let's check. Is Nikon still hovering around 11%? Okay. 11 people out of 100 shoot a Nikon. Sony, 26%. 26 out of 100, shoot that. Guess who shoots the majority of the rest of it? About 45 to 46% of it. A Canon. Who's leaving what? No one's leaving anything. So let's talk about what's being conveyed here. The people that were the true connoisseurs, right? True connoisseurs of Nikon and Canon as a brand, for example, they're finding their way back to the brand from places like Sony and other places. So there were a lot of Nikon shooters that actually came over to Canon because Nikon really didn't have too much in as far as offering that was tantalizing their taste buds. So they bought these Canon cameras. Now they've gone back. Like the R6. Everyone wanted to use that for weddings because Nikon really didn't have something as good as an R6 until the Z6 III came out. Which is a true statement, as much as you say, oh, but you can shoot it on the Z6 II, but guess what? It didn't hit the punch. So what are these people doing? They're talking about a 4-year-old Canon R6. It was a compromise. I still went over there. I shot it, this, that, and the other, but now the Z6 III does a better job. Sure it does, 4 years later. So now you've gone back to Nikon. So all of a sudden everyone's leaving Canon. They're not leaving Canon. They were never a true Canon shooter. Same as a lot of these Nikon and Canon people that went to Sony in the early days, they were never really true Sony shooters. They were just there buying time till their brand caught up. That's what's really going on. How do I know this? Stop listening to these YouTubers in 2025 and beyond. Not going to mention any names. Start reading the 10K, which is an official document that every company produces and is required by law to produce. And understand what the companies are doing, what are they really selling and what are they really not. And then you will understand the true health of the company and brand that you're such a big fanboy or fangirl about. If you don't understand that, stop wasting your time on YouTube even writing comments. I don't want any hate comments on this. I'm sharing with you what the history is and where it comes. No one is leaving anything today. These are all clickbait videos. And these same people will make another video 3 months from now. Oh, I'm back to Canon now again. Because now the R6 III is back and it's better than the Z6 III. This back and forth game, it's really annoying. How many times have you heard me make a switch video? I don't switch. I just add another system. There's nothing to switch. What are you going to switch? Right? Honestly, if you have to sell all your gear to buy all new gear, you shouldn't be doing it to begin with. Right? If you're already happy with one system, why are you even looking at another system? Why does it matter what Canon does if you're a Nikon shooter? It really doesn't. If you're happy with your Nikon, the only time it matters to you is when your brand is not giving you something. Same thing. If you're a Canon shooter, you don't worry about. Think about it this way. When you when you drive, right? Let's say you drive a Chevy truck, and someone's driving a Ford truck. Are you always worried about what Ford's doing, or are you just enjoying your Chevy? You don't. Some do. But why do we do this with cameras? So what I'm going to be making on the members only content. Yes, this gear is important. It's exciting to talk about. All this stuff is awesome. What I am noticing, we have people that have very expensive gear and they cannot even expose properly. They're running massive live streams, they're running all these videos, and they've become subject matter experts. It blows my mind that they do not even understand basic exposure. They have no clue what they're doing. They're showing shots of, again, I'll use birds and wildlife. So shots of bald eagle. The bald eagle, the white part of the bald eagle on the head and the tail is very important. Once that is blown out, the photo is useless. I don't care about the rest of the body. It's no good. You lost all the detail. And even when you shoot raw, you only have so much latitude. You have to understand how to meter for the whites. These are the kinds of things that will be available when you're actually a member. And I strongly urge you to become one. And that content should start in the next month to 2 months. Starting to put that together. And we'll create that. And we'll continue to build that. So these kind of videos that are more market trends and things like that, gear reviews and all this stuff will be available for everyone to watch. But if you want to take your photography or your video skills to the next level, you should consider becoming a member. And we'll talk about things like this. If you don't own one of these, you don't know how to use one of these, you'll learn how to use one. And you'll understand what it means. Because if you don't understand digital sensors and how noise is created from the photos and videos that you shoot, because you did not expose it correctly, that's a problem. So with all the tools that are actually available today, if you can't get a proper exposure and if you don't learn exposure, all I can tell you is all these things that you're buying and acquiring, you're wasting your money. Complete waste of money. Stop spending money. Don't waste any more money. Rather spend $4.99 and become a member here. And I can tell you right now, after 12 months of being a member, and even if you watch 10 of those member videos between now and the end of the year and master that skill to whatever those videos are, you, my friend, would have spent the best $60 to $100 that you've ever spent in your life. It's better than spending $20,000, $30,000 on buying all this bullshit that's in these cabinets. Because all these cabinets, they mean nothing. Have you seen, I have a good chunk of the RF mount glass right here. I'm trying to just point here and think at the same time. And then up here is a complete section of Zeiss lenses. I haven't bought every RF lens there is that's available. I still have tons of EF glass, and I love my EF glass. I can put it to Sony, I can put it to Nikon, I can put it on any system. I can't do that with my RF stuff. Same thing with Nikon stuff. They buy the Nikon Z lenses, can't do anything. If you buy their F mount and the G lenses, all those different things that you do, you can stick it to any mount, including the Z mount. So to me, that kind of lens is worth twice as much or 3 times as much because you can use it on any system. Same thing with the Sony stuff. So, like, subscribe, be nice to each other, go out there, create your magic. And I hope you found value in this as to the history of how we are where we are and why everyone is apparently leaving Canon in 2025. I'll talk to you in the next one. Thank you and Happy New Year. Take care.